Welcome back to A Bite from the Money Sandwich, where we provide practical and easy to understand tips and ideas on how to manage your money better, so as to let you retire with comfort and on your own terms. I'm really excited by today's topic, which is the 5 keys to how to have a great day every day. As what's the point of having money if it's not to help you with the things that you love doing and to get the most out of life? Today I'm joined by my wonderful and talented friend, Victoria Black, who is the founder of Modern Wedding, Australia's leading publisher of wedding magazines and websites, which he led for over 27 years as publisher and editor-in-chief, including winning the Australian Businesswoman of the Year with the Optus My Business Awards in 2016. In 2018, Victoria co-founded superfastdiet.com, a revolutionary online weight loss and lifestyle program. Through Victoria's experience in these fields, she is in a unique position to understand that whether it's your wedding day or your health, if you're not in a happy and positive state of mind, it's going to be difficult to achieve any goal, including financial. So looking forward to hearing from Victoria, her 5 keys to how to have a great day every day. Well, welcome Victoria to our podcast.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you for having me, Mark.
I've known you for a long time. It doesn't take much to get you excited, Victoria. I suppose
yes, we have been friends a long time.
We have. Probably a good place to start is probably some background, as I know you've had a very successful wedding business and now you've moved into the health and wellness industry. So probably the first place to start is, why was it the wedding industry?
Sure. Well, when I became engaged myself back when I was in my 20s, I bought all the wedding magazines that were available and I thought, these are really rubbish. Why doesn't anybody put out a wedding magazine with some style and some, those huge meringue dresses were in and they were just disgusting. So
they should never have gone out. They should never have gone out.
No, they never were attractive. So I launched a magazine called Sydney Wedding to start with, and then that did remarkably well, better than I ever imagined. And then we were approached to do a national magazine, which we did, called Modern Wedding. And then that grew and we had all sorts of brand extensions. We did Luxury Weddings magazine. We did Modern Wedding Cakes, Modern Wedding Flowers, Modern Wedding Honeymoons. It went on and on and on. And then the digital revolution came along and we took everything online. And to this day, Modern Wedding is the top wedding media brand still in Australia, which is...
Oh, and I do remember you took that on very early. And, way before anyone else realized the value of the whole social media and digital side of it. You actually had 1 million followers at one point, didn't you? It was something crazy number.
Yeah, we still do. We've still got over 2 million followers.
Goodness.
Yeah, so we've got 1.5 million on Facebook, about nearly 300,000 on Instagram. And some months we have 2 million unique viewers on our Pinterest, which is insane. Wow. And it's only gone more and more crazy, obviously, over the last couple of years as everybody's moved more online. Yeah, so it's a
incredible.
Fun. Okay. Yes.
Well, and the talk today is about being happy. Weddings obviously tick that box. It's got to be, the happiest day in most couples' lives, but I'm sure you have some stories about that.
Well, one would think so,
yes,
that it would be one of the happiest days of your lives. And for many, that is actually true. But what actually got me started to be fascinated about this whole subject of how to be happy every day was being in the wedding industry and seeing the most lavish $1 million weddings. And often those brides were what we term bridezillas. You know the term bridezilla?
Yes.
There was even a TV show about it once, how horrendous these brides are. And it got me thinking that, money doesn't necessarily bring happiness. And sometimes it was the most simple DIY backyard kind of weddings where the families had beautiful relationships and it was truly about the love, that they were the happiest of all, which was really interesting.
And so I suppose it doesn't always have to come down to planning, but it's just the relationship people have, and not trying to get something external to make them happy. It's they're already happy.
Absolutely, yes. And it's not to say you can't have money and be happy, because I reckon that's the ultimate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's for sure. Because, to have true financial freedom, as you know, because that's what your passion is, really does make you happy. But you also need the other areas of your life to be balanced in order to have true inner joy.
Yeah, very true. And exactly as you said, some of the most expensive weddings aren't the happiest, it actually flows on to some of the richest people I've ever met are miserable. They are just miserable, and just sort of think, yeah, it obviously doesn't, you can't just have these things in isolation. Okay. So now you moved into the healthy food industry and wellness industry. So I can see where this is going with the happiness side. But that's still, to me, I was a bit of a shock when I actually first heard you were going into this industry. So how did that come about?
Yes, well, I've always been fascinated, obsessed with health and fitness, and I'm a gym junkie, as you know, and I go from one gym to another and try everything out, and I just love it. But I also am really passionate about nutrition and looking after yourself in order to feel your best. So when the opportunity came along I really always had an idea for a business in this area, because over 60% of people in the Western world are overweight or obese. Like a good 20% plus are actually obese. And it's not just that it's so unhealthy, it's miserable. It is miserable being obese. It affects your whole mood, your whole spirit, your social life. A lot of those very, very obese people who are super happy and laughing, deep down, they're not so happy. So I really, really wanted to help those people and to make a difference and help them transform, because we found a system, or developed a system, that we believe is really easy and doable. You can still have all the foods and drinks you love and lose weight. So that's when we developed Superfast Diet, and we launched just over 4 years ago. We won Australian Startup of the Year. We're fortunately doing really well. And what's most important to me is we've literally helped over 100,000 people now to successfully get to their goal weight. So that's really exciting. But what's most exciting is not losing weight. That's just like this much of the equation. They come to us to lose weight. Predominantly women come to us to lose weight. But what they find is that it's getting happy and having that inner joy that is so much more important, getting their confidence back. And we teach them how to get happy now and lose weight second. So it's not what you think.
Yeah, and I think that I've heard that a lot, actually, because we've had this discussion about being happy, and a lot of people, even from a financial point of view, think okay, when I'm rich, I'll be happy. Yeah, or when I'm successful at work, I'll be happy. And it's obviously in your own lifestyle, it's the same, but it's the actual opposite, isn't it? You do need to be happy. That will lead to actually good habits, whether that's for your money, for your health, for your work, and so on.
Yes, precisely. Yes, we call it the tyranny of when, and it's
okay.
Yes, we have a psychologist on our program, Dr. Tim Sharp. He's otherwise known as Dr. Happy. He has the Happiness Institute, and he has developed a whole Super Life program for us. But when he talks about the tyranny of when, it really sets light bulbs off in your mind, because you think about, when you're at school, I just hate being at school. I'll be happy when I finish school. And then it's, I'll be happy when I finish university and get a job. I'll be happy when I meet my dream partner. I'll be happy when I own my own home, when I finally rent free. I'll be happy when, and it goes on. And then finally, I'll be happy when I finally finish work and I retire. That's no way to live your life. Got to be happy now.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot of times when we help our clients goal setting. Absolutely. You need to have goals. You need to have things set in the future, and you do need to, pay off your home and all that. But if you actually haven't got your lifestyle right now, it will never happen. It doesn't matter how good a plan it is, how much planning you do. If you haven't got your working on yourself now, it will never happen.
So true. That's absolutely true. And that's the very big part of what we teach on our program is how to practically put that into your life.
And when you talk to the doctor, and part of your plan is actually you need a plan, I imagine.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. It is, there's a lot of academic research about being happy and what it takes to be happy. And there's a lot of surprising things. For example, there is a psychologist called Susan Pink, and she's got a fantastic TED talk about how she became fascinated with the people from an island in Sardinia. And there are more people who live to be over 100 than just across, on the mainland of Italy, like 10 times more. It's quite fascinating. It's like, why do these people live so long and yet they're really healthy as well? And she traveled to the island and she met with them. And what she came up with is the fact that it's the social integration. It's the village is small, they live in each other's pockets, they all know each other, and it's like a village. They live in this village for this whole life, and that makes them really, really happy. So that's fascinating. Yeah.
And I think, and it's threaded through what you've been talking about from the weddings. It's, all about relationships. It's all about community. And when you do look at, doesn't matter what age you are, but if you are looking at the elderly and you see them and you think, well, a lot of these communities, aged care homes even, are trying to build that community, and some are good at it, but you see others and you see people it can have a whole stack of people sitting in a room, but no one's talking to each other. And on the opposite side, you go to see any restaurant and there's a whole stack of millennials and they're all individually on their phones. And they're not talking to each other. And I don't think that's a community either. We do need to get back to actually talking and interacting.
No, and she talks a lot about this. She talks about, connecting with people digitally. It's not the same. It's absolutely not the same on a spiritual level as having those close relationships physically in your life. So she did this whole analysis of what are the most important determinants of living a long life and a healthy life. And they're the things you would expect, like eating well, getting regular exercise, quitting smoking, not drinking too much alcohol, those things that you would expect. But at the very top of the list was social integration.
Yeah.
And the way we can relate it to our lives is, how well do you know your barista? Do you have a little chat with him? I know you do. And
yes,
I know
I do. Yep. We have a very good relationship. We're both Liverpool supporters. So you look forward to it.
Sorry.
You've got Manchester United there. So we got that.
So it's about relationships, as you quite rightly say. But,
There's a previous podcast I've written with Natalie, and I encourage anyone to listen to it. But it's all about, she sees the 6 different ways once you do retire that you need to basically be happy and enjoy this next great stage of your life. But her number one is community. Her absolutely number one is community. And, I'm sure she actually, that same example from Sardinia, it just makes sense, actually. It absolutely rings true, makes sense. But actually, before we just move off on the health side, it rang true about, I know, and the story, this sticks in my mind, is going to Disneyland a few years back when we could travel, and even though we're starting to go travel again a bit more now, and seeing amount of scooters for people to go around it. And these weren't elderly people, these were young people who were it just looked uncomfortable. And I guess if there's health reasons for this, but it just stood out. Like, if I went to any other country, Europe, Australia, that, you would see maybe 1%. Here, you're looking at like 10% of people were needing these scooters. And I just, and that comes down to, obviously, we all talk about, and a lot of Americans talk about, their fast food generation that came through, which I know that they're starting to address. So it's not absolutely to become skinny. That's the whole point of this. Not to, it's just to become healthy, and whatever that weight is. And for every person, that's different, and that's why I presume you get a plan, you tailor it to that person to get to their healthy weight, not obviously to become skinny.
Exactly right. Yes. And, there's a big body confidence movement, which we totally and 100% support. It's not just to have that reed thin Instagram body that's
which is touched up anyway in most cases.
Yeah. Even the models don't look like that. Exactly. No, it's about having a healthy weight, eating well, moving well, and eating real fresh food.
Yeah, makes sense. You now have these 5 keys to how to have a great day every day. Now, this is something I've not really heard of from you before, but something, I'd love for you to share.
Yes, sure. Well, we've developed this in our program, with the help of our psychologists, and people often ask me, so what do I do, and how do I be happy every day? And is it even possible to be happy every day? Well, the answer is at a deep level, yes, 100%. It is possible to have that inner happiness every day. Sometimes things happen in life, give you curveballs, horrible things happen. But it's the way you deal with it. And things happen to all of us, don't they? So number 1 on the list is gratitude. And I know that's flavor of the month. Yes, everybody says you've got to be grateful, count your blessings, all of that. But how do you really do that? How do you really feel grateful? So there's a very simple method, and that is to teach yourself, to train yourself, to make it a habit. If you're the type of person that, as a journaler, you can, do a little gratitude journal, but that's not for everyone. Sometimes it's just a matter of making it a habit of when you first wake up in the morning, you think, what are 3 things I'm grateful for?
Okay.
Might be as simple as I'm grateful for this beautiful warm bed. I'm grateful for access to healthy food, access to water, things that the rest of the world, that we take for granted, that the rest of the world doesn't necessarily have access to. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for, the fact I can put food on the table. I'm grateful for my health, whatever it is that you're grateful for. But it's those really basic things that it's important to remind yourself of what to be grateful for, because so many people in the world don't have those, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, just before you go to sleep, you do the same thing. And you think, what am I grateful for today? And think about what happened in your day, and there's always something you can be grateful for. Maybe it was a hug from one of your friends. Maybe it was, a compliment a stranger paid you. Maybe it was just that you had a really nice lunch. I don't know what it was, but there's always something nice that you can think about at the end of the day. So it's just 3 things, simple. Beginning of the day, end of the day. And what that does is it trains your positivity muscle. And you start, which brings us to number 2, which is about looking for the positives. Now, our brains are actually wired to look for the negatives in life. And it goes back to caveman days, you had to look for the saber-toothed
Flight or fright, yes. Flight or fight.
Flight. Yep. And so our brains are wired to look for what bad that can possibly happen. So that's only natural. So, if you're the type of person that, you think about bad things, that's just natural. So it's about training yourself to look for the positives in situations. So, and again, it's practice. We have a term that we call flip it. So when something bad happens, okay, how can I flip it? How can I twist this around to look for the silver lining? And it really, really works, because life is absolutely 10% what happens to you and 90% how you deal with it, what your attitude is.
Okay.
So,
actually, one of the things, going back to sort of a combination of that grateful and positiveness, I remember hearing a speaker in America talking about happiness, and he actually believed, by pretty well doing exactly what you said in point 1 and point 2, you could turn a pessimist into an optimist in 30 days. by just doing that every day. And I just thought, I was fascinated to actually think, because I thought I know a few pessimists and I would love for them to try it. But yeah, it absolutely makes sense. Yeah. So how, on that point too, so when do you think about doing what happened positive at the end of the day, or how does that work?
That's all the time.
Oh, okay.
So
all the time.
you train yourself to look for the positive.
Right.
In a book called The Happiness Advantage, which I really recommend everybody should read,
Okay.
they talk about the Tetris effect. And they did this study with people who were just like so focused on being really, really good at Tetris. And they became, they saw buildings as blocks and, everything about it. It's like that reticular part of your brain that, once you're buying a red car, all you see is red cars.
Yes.
So it's the same thing. So once you try to really work that into your life, to focus on the positives, anytime you feel a little bit negative, think, okay, flip it. What's the positive in this? And yeah, classic example, Michael Jordan, right? He missed out on getting into the basketball team. So he flipped it and thought, okay, well, I just have to train like a madman and get better and better and better. And look what happened. So if that negative thing hadn't happened to him, maybe he never would have been the great that he was.
Yeah, no, and drive is amazing. And once you actually put your mind to something, it's incredible what you can achieve. Okay, number 3.
Yes, number 3 is taking care of your body. You only get one.
Yeah, true.
Yes. So, and that really does make you happy. If you feel good in your body, you've got energy, you've got vitality, that affects your mood. Get out amongst nature if you can, go for a walk, fresh air. You don't have to flog yourself at the gym. I'm not saying that. In fact, that's the opposite of what I'm saying. It's just about eating healthy, real fresh food and getting out and moving most days. And that's
and having someone there to encourage you, or actually even just to, I see a lot of parents sort of say, well, okay, it was my young children. I wanted to be able to be far more active with my young children. So that was the motivation to do that. I suppose having some sort of motivation, unless hopefully that's not point number 4, but having that to help you be healthy is important.
Yes, having a buddy is like a, exercise buddy is always good too, as well. And going for walks with people, walk and talk is
we often say financial gym buddy when we're referring it back to our money things to help you get to your goals. Having a financial gym buddy, someone you can speak to and talk to about this. You don't have to do these things on your own.
No, absolutely not. Yes, and then number 4 is taking care of your soul, your spirit. Okay. And ways to do this is what we were talking about before. Get out, be social. Put yourself out there, chat to the guy in the grocery store that you see, speak to strangers, pay them a compliment, but also the people, in your family, spend quality time with them, give them that piece of you that, it's from your heart, and spend time with your friends and laugh, and don't work all the time because life's too short. Just, you've got to have that balance. Yeah. And finally, sorry.
I just say, and just one of the things I do find with exactly that is that a lot of people I helped retire, and they retired with enough, and they were comfortable, they had financial freedom. But especially when you look at that Maslow's pyramid of meaning, the very top one isn't financial freedom. It's actually after you've reached financial freedom, what are you going to do to give back? What are you going to give back as part of your soul? What are you going to do to help your community and all this sort of thing? It's never just, okay, I'm now healthy or I'm now financially fine or this. There is that you need to give, as you said, part of your soul. You need to actually give back. I was often told growing up, you're being put on this earth to serve. I absolutely believe in that. So I could see how, giving part of your soul makes so much sense.
So true. And you've perfectly given me a dovetail into number 5.
Oh, okay.
Which is finding a purpose and working towards it. So what is your contribution to the world? And it don't have to be like a super successful CEO. Not at all. It might be creating a beautiful garden. It might be being a really great mom or a really great dad. Whatever you feel is your purpose and your special thing that you can bring to the world, articulate that and work towards it. And it, as you quite rightly said, serving others is the most powerful thing you can do for your own personal happiness. Ironically, the more you give, the more you get. So, if you can get involved in, as you said, a community service or charity work, or maybe your actual work is helping others, or maybe it's just being a great, member of family or a fantastic friend. So having a purpose in life and having goals to strive towards as well is absolutely essential to inner joy, inner contentment and happiness.
Yeah, I always said, yes, whatever you give, you get back tenfold. Yeah, it's just simple as that. It's just, it's amazing. I can see how obviously now with your 5 points, how that can lead to your overall happiness. I suppose these 5 keys to having a great day every day, well, that's obviously for all ages, whether you're millennials, whether you're retired, elderly, sandwich generation.
Yeah, absolutely. I've raised my kids, and I know you have too, to be really positive, optimistic as possible. And, I think a parent's greatest wish for their child is that they will be happy. Yes. I know my mum wrote on my wedding card and gave it to me on my wedding day, we just always wanted you to be happy. That's all we've ever wanted. And really, it's pretty simple.
Yeah. No.
That's what it's all about.
And I would have also thought, and we've touched on this too, and it's a very big piece when I talk about getting a financial advisor or financial coach, someone who keeps you accountable and on track for those goals step by step. I often say, and it's applicable to you, definitely not applicable to me, but that's early Sunday morning when it's cold and you just, do I get up and do whatever I'm going to do, go to the gym, do it for a walk, and it's cold, I could just roll over, which I often do. But if you've got someone there waiting for you, a coach or a gym buddy, and I say a financial gym buddy, it just makes things so much easier, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. You will get there faster towards whatever goals you have. You will do it more effectively, and it just shortcuts the whole process. So, that's the reason why we created Super Fast Diet. It's literally a coaching program. It's a membership site, but we have personal coaches. And it's about constantly motivating and empowering people to be their best financially, or physically or mentally.
And I think that's really important. You've got those personal coaches because it's, New Year's resolutions. On average, they last 3 months. And it's because life gets in the way, people get busy, and it's just really hard to keep yourself motivated. Very few of us can do that. I'm not one of those. So having a coach, we've often talked about the best tennis player in the world keeps having a coach. He's not obviously going to make him better, but he keeps him accountable.
Yes, you think about all the most successful people in the world. Sorry, I've just got a bit of cough.
That's okay.
Sorry about that. Yes, been talking a while now. Most successful people in the world, 9 times out of 10, they've got some kind of coach helping them.
Yeah, and it doesn't. And if people say, "Oh, yeah, but that costs money and all that," no, it could be a family friend. It could be your best friend. It could be just or an uncle or an aunt or someone that that you can just talk to. They say, okay, I've got this plan for the next 6 months, 12 months, whatever it is. I'd like to see you once a month. I don't know how for yours, just someone to keep you accountable. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, that's for sure.
I suppose, actually, I wouldn't mind as a nice segue, because we've got this videoed as well as a podcast. Here is the new book for those who are watching on the video. The Money Sandwich has been relaunched for August, but it was actually your encouragement and following your the way your work and your with the health and wedding industry encouraged me to actually learn. I now do the intermittent fasting. I absolutely love it. I'm enjoy my 2 meals a day, but it just works for me. You do need, doesn't matter how much money you have, and I was talking before about, there's a lot of miserable rich people out there. You need to have work-life balance. You need to have, there's so many things in a 24-hour day, your family, your friends, your work, your spirituality, your finance, all the things there, something's got to give. So having someone help you out with your finances, helping you with your money, bringing coaches into your life and your health and all that just makes so much sense.
Definitely. And then you're more success. It's like a little circle of awesomeness. The happier you are, the more successful you are, the more money you make. And you can do, it gives you financial freedom, but also like the freedom to spend money on amazing experiences, traveling to the places that you could only dream about as a child. So if you can nail both your financial wellness and your physical and mental wellness, it's absolutely
you've got it all. And what's money for except to actually help you enjoy doing the things you like to do? It's not there to just sit in a bank account. It's there to actually enjoy life. Wisely and prudently, I should say. Okay, so wedding industry, health industry, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? What's the next chapter for Victoria Black? Have we even thought of that?
Question. Yes, I have actually. Okay. I think I want to still have an interest in the health and wellness industry, but might be at a different level, at a board level or something like that. And I am entering the speaker world. So probably speaking on this exact topic. Yeah, so I really feel that it's needed enormously. Mental health is such a huge challenge for many, many people. And after all my decades, literally, I know I only look 25, but after decades of experience, in the industry, I have, and particularly the last few years at the Superfast Diet, and I've seen these women's lives turn around from being really overweight and really unhappy to the point where they often couldn't get out of bed in the morning. They were so depressed, and turning it around to being fit and vibrant and confident and so happy. It's like, well, I feel like that's my mission.
Yeah, and I think you've absolutely nailed the key to this is you have to be happy first.
Yeah.
Not the other way around. And I think that's a great, great message. Actually, as a nice way to finish, we always ask our guests, one great piece of advice they've heard in the past, and you've actually rattled off a stack today. But is there something that sticks into your mind that's a great piece of advice you've heard in the past?
Yes, definitely. When I was 17, I read a book, which is a very famous book, by Dale Carnegie called "How to Win Friends and Influence People," and it changed my life. And one of his points is to become genuinely interested in other people. Ask them all about themselves. Learn about them before you even talk about yourself. And that one piece of advice has just really created, my relationships and success in business. It's just so powerful. And there are so many people who, those type of people, when you talk to them and all they do is wow, all about themselves, people soon lose interest, don't they? Yeah. So it's not just about asking them about themselves. It's about being really interested in other people.
And builds great relationships. Not all work out, but it's just a terrific way to start. No, I really like that. Although I've always said over all these years, I've always said Carnegie. Now Carnegie. I've been saying it wrong for all these years.
I don't know.
But it is a wonderful book, and I do encourage anyone to read. It's just timeless anecdotes and just really great tips. Yeah. Victoria, thank you so much for being on our show. And really, I think we've actually got a stack of material, so we'll hopefully get you back on soon.
That would be amazing. I've loved every second. So thank you so much, Mark. It's been a delight.
Thank you, Victoria. If you'd like to know more about Victoria and Superfast Diet, visit their website, superfastdiet.com. Thanks again for listening. And if you want to speak to me or have any questions, feel free to either email me on admin@themoneysandwich.com or visit my website, themoneysandwich.com. Want more practical, easy to understand tips and action lists to help with your money stuff? The latest version of my book, The Money Sandwich, is now available to order on Booktopia and Amazon, as well as available at all popular bookstores. Everyone deserves to retire comfortably and on their own terms. Make this the year you take action. As with every podcast, this information is not advice, as not personalised to your own situation. And past performance is never guaranteed for the future. What we are trying to do here is to provide tips, coaching and education to help improve your money knowledge, which we believe can only be a good thing. See you next time when we take another bite from the Money Sandwich.